What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Daily Dose. I am your host, Dylan Davis. As always, to my right, my big-headed friend, Matt McGinty. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt_McGinty. I don't know what that head nod was for again, because there's no denying that mug's pretty large. The Daily Dose, as always, is brought to you by the Paint Lines Network. So if you're new to the channel, please go on YouTube and hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, like this video and all the videos on the Paint Lines Network on their YouTube channel. A lot of great content, especially Sixers content. I know there is, for all you Eagles fans out there, a Jamar Chase draft scouting report video coming out through the Paint Lines later today. So that's something to look forward to. And you can also check the Paint Lines out on Twitter at the Paint Lines. Check me out on Twitter, as you see on your screen, at DylanJD98. Well, let's just start with here. Again, put some respect on the man's name. The Sixers take down the Los Angeles Lakers 107-106 on the back of a clutch shot by Tobias max contract Harris. Again, oh my God, what a freaking roller coaster of a game of a win last night for the 76ers. And what did everyone say? What did everyone want to see, Gint? It's a barometer. It's where we can gauge where this team's at. They haven't beaten anyone, really. They beat Boston, but Tatum didn't play. They beat Toronto. Toronto's off to a slow start. Blah, blah, blah. You happy? Because I'm pretty damn happy.
Yeah. I mean, I am.
Perfect. What I already thought and knew. And let me preface it by saying this. I'm not claiming that the 76ers are world beaters, that they're going to win the championship, they're going to even come out of the East, nothing like that. But what did they prove last night, Gint? Not only can they
real deal
the Los Angeles Lakers, can you run with the Los Angeles Lakers? Can you compete with the Lakers? If you can do that, you can compete with any team in the NBA. And they did for 48 entire minutes and controlled 45 of the freaking minutes outside the last 3 minutes, which we will definitely dive into throughout the course of this show. So that's all I'm asking. That's all we want, right? I don't understand why everyone's so negative. If you can prove that you can run and compete with the Los Angeles Lakers, you can run and compete with anyone in the association. And if you can do that, you're in the conversation at the end of the year, right?
Yep.
So you're right as of right now. What are we getting? 13-6?
Yep.
First place in the East, best record in the East.
Yep.
And just took down the defending champs, who have gotten better. Gave them their first road loss on the year. They were 10-0 coming into last night away from the Staples Center. And I don't want to hear there should be no negatives in our comment section today. None. There will be, but here's the thing. Even across from the Sixers' point of view, when you look at the Lakers, right? Fully healthy. So you can't say, oh, COVID, injuries, nothing. Fully healthy. Did LeBron James play to win that game last night? Yeah, LeBron
39 minutes.
LeBron played to win that game last night. Did AD play through a knee injury, it looked like, to win that game? Yeah, Anthony Davis played through a knee injury to win that game last night. So there should be nothing. There's no excuse, nothing. And it's one game. And I'm not sitting here saying the Sixers can beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. I don't know. But what they proved is that they can run with them and they can beat them. So everyone should be excited from last night. Gint, thoughts on last night's game before we break down the players and the matchups?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on it. It's for the fans, because obviously the guys in the locker room believe they can beat anyone, as they should. For the fans, this one was like okay, this is the real deal. This is what we thought it was. They were 9-0 with the fully healthy team. Now they're 10-0, and you just beat. And we went across the defensive rankings last night. Top 10 in every single category you possibly could be in. They were just coming in here, clicking on all cylinders, and you won. I mean, you won the game. Outside the last 30 minutes of the game, you played an unbelievable game, but you still got it done.
Yeah. And, that last 3 minutes is something we're going to definitely dive into, okay? But let's think about it. You came out from the jump. You came out, competing with them, taking a lead. You had multiple double-digit leads in the first half, and in the second half, you were up 12 or 14 with 5 or 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Like, you kind of dominated this game from start to finish. And what impressed me about the fact that they came out with a win, they didn't look like the moment, like the game was too big for them. They weren't intimidated by the Lakers. And they didn't back down when the Lakers would go on runs, because the Lakers went on many runs. And they clawed their way back, down 16, down 12, down 10. They came back, tied it up, 2-point game, 3-point game, 4-point game. And the Sixers answered every single time. And it's not like the Sixers shot a crazy number from three. It's not like they were crazy efficient, right? So it's not like, oh, next time they play, that probably won't happen. They just played a solid game of basketball from start to finish. And this is, I want to read the end of this comment here. Ben was crazy aggressive to start. He was. That's one of our keys from yesterday's game. And he only had one turnover. Pretty damn impressive, Gint.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to get into player by player at this point because we could talk about so much from last night. But one of my big highlights is definitely about Ben. So,
yeah. Abe says Embiid played half a game with a bad back, too. No excuses. Marquise brings up the dirty play from LeBron. Vasilios says, now imagine if Seth was hitting shots too. Seth made like one bucket last night. Seth Curry was off his field. Yeah. He didn't hit a three. Shake Milton only gave you 8 or 9 points off the bench. Dwight Howard was damn near unplayable and was in all sorts of foul trouble, even though he gets no love. That's just like a little sidebar. Did you see the play they got double technicals on him and Markieff Morris?
Yeah.
Dude, he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything. Markieff Morris was literally shoving Dwight in the chest, and Dwight was like just playing through it, moving his body around. Not only, like, at first I thought they called it like a double foul, and like, you know, each player got a foul. And I'm like, dude, he didn't do anything. Then they say it's double text. I'm like, dude, he gets no love. Don't get me wrong. He's got bricks in his head sometimes with some of the fouls he commits, like that. And they pointed it out on the ESPN broadcast, like when that should have been a moving screen at the end of the game. Like it was a moving screen, dude. But that he normally gets called for that. Those are the moments I'm like, Dwight, what are you doing? Like, just stand still. You're huge. Just stand still. But oh my God, he gets crushed by the stripes.
Let me ask you this. Just because I'm curious, and you can have your opinions on how.
No, go ahead.
What LeBron did. I'm not saying it was dirty. Didn't have any ill intent. Not saying he should have. If there was a couple other guys in the NBA, they get thrown out of that game.
I watched Mike Scott get thrown out of a game last year or 2 years ago for absolutely nothing. So yes, other guys get thrown out here. Let's get this out of the way. Right?
I don't got banned from the NBA.
Yeah. Let's get this topic out of the way. He's not a dirty player.
No.
Never has been. That play, I'm not saying he had ill intent behind it. That play's dirty in itself.
Dude, and he didn't even like offer like a hand.
No, dude. But you have to look at what led up to that moment too. They were getting into it before that moment. Like LeBron didn't like the way, I forget what happened. There was a foul on Joel or whatever. And then LeBron coming off the floor gave Joel a little bump in the chest with his shoulder. Then a few plays later, Joel stuffed LeBron at the rim. And then that happened. So stuff led up to that happening, right? And to your point, put the play aside, right? Joel's on the floor in pain. Dennis Schroeder goes over to help him. LeBron just looks at him and walks past him. And then he gets called for a flagrant one, and he's bitching and moaning to the ref.
And
dude,
then the next
pack
play,
it up, bro.
The next play, we got a flagrant, right?
Joel got a flagrant for the elbow to AD, which pisses me off as well. Because that's a basketball play. He's coming through. Like, dude, it's a personal space, right? Like, Joel's allowed his personal space when he's driving to the bucket. So I'm sorry if I'm swinging through with the ball and your face is right here and my elbow connects to your chin. Okay?
Yeah,
that shouldn't be a foul in itself. But the way you got to look at it, everyone, is they both got a flagrant one.
Exactly.
They're not on the same level.
Degree, yeah.
Exactly. Like, so LeBron doing that to Joel, which I thought was going to put him out of the game, and then Joel turning around, and you could say it was on purpose if you want to. I don't think it was. An elbow to AD's jaw, which it wasn't even a hard elbow. It was just a follow-through with the way he was going with the ball. That's a flagrant. That's the same level of foul that LeBron got called for 2 possessions ago. That's bullshit, dude. So the way he the play was dirty in itself. You don't do that. You do not. You see him going up. You get out of the way and kind of like bend him and then put your hands on him. And then Gasol's behind him, pushing him in the back at the same time. That play's dirty. You don't go over to him. You don't look at him. You don't say anything to him. You bitch and moan to the refs. And then when the game's over, you walk your sorry ass right down to the tunnel. Dude, he is the second greatest player of all time. In a lot of people's minds, he's the greatest. To me, he's the second greatest. We won't get into that right now. But I can't stand him, dude. I can't, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. And I know all superstars get calls. I know Jordan. I know all of them get calls. They all complain to the refs. They all do some sketchy shit sometimes. I get it. Every single time he goes to the rack, you can hear that man, bitch, before he even gets contact, dude. Shut up. I couldn't stand watching it last night. And the worst part is, it transferred from his body throughout the rest of the Lakers locker room, apparently, because all they did was bitch and moan last night. It was unbelievable, dude. The game in itself was a fantastic game of basketball to watch. I can do without all that. Yeah, and I know everyone complains every game, but that was on another level last night.
Yeah. I kind of want to just get that out of the way because I was curious on your opinion because we didn't really talk about it. But
no, that play was bullshit.
That was weird. And I mean, Doc talked about it after the game and said LeBron's not a dirty player. Joel had
no, and I don't think he is.
Comments about the play. Yeah, and Joel had other comments about the play, but I mean, there's so much to talk about, so let's just move past that.
Let's get into the game aspect of it. So let's talk about Ben first.
Yeah.
Triple-double, but a 17-point triple-double. Followed around that guy, some people's GOAT, for a majority of the freaking game. And then in a weird way, I looked at the box score again. Me and you talked about this pre-show. He was a -11. He played more minutes than everyone else, and he played during that 13-0 run, so I'm sure that factored in to those extra minutes being a negative. But that was weird to me. But I thought Ben was absolutely phenomenal last night. You do not win that game without Ben Simmons playing at that level last night. He started out aggressive. What do you have? The Sixers, 6 of their first 9 points or 8 points were by the way of Ben Simmons. He was attacked. He was right into AD's chest, right into LeBron's chest, getting downhill, getting to the rim. And then later in the game, when those lanes weren't there, guess what he was doing? Again, kick out, Danny Green 3. Kick out, Furkan 3. Kick out, Tobias Harris 3. He was unbelievable, and he did one thing that we talked about. What did you say earlier? How good that Lakers defense is. How great that Lakers defense is, right? What does that mean? Half court. Okay? We had the 4th or 5th best pace offensively in the NBA. Ben used that pace, and he used it early against the LA Lakers. And that's where those spurts that the Sixers would get up, 10 to 16 points, would come. I mean, do you remember the start of the third quarter when LA, it was only a 4-point game, and then for the first minute or two, it was 2 points, 4 points, and then bang, Ben hit Danny Green and Toby for back-to-back threes on the run, and then we were back up like 12 or whatever to start the third. Like that, that's all him, dude. Yeah, so I thought Ben Simmons was out of this world last night.
Yeah, and I don't know if you watched the post-game show last night with those guys that did the watch party, but Tiago had a great stat. He broke the first 2.5 minutes down from the first quarter and the third quarter, so 5 minutes total. Sixers scored 19 points in that 5 minutes between those 2.5 minutes. And like you said, that's all Ben Simmons. It was 6 points attacking the rim to start the half. And when the second half started, he's getting guys in spots that they love to be in. Danny Green in that little slot position, foul line extended, drills a 3. Tobias Harris, top of the key, drills a 3. He was just setting the pace. We knew Joel time was coming, and the Lakers knew Joel time was coming. But what Ben did was put them in a position to beat this team before their half-court defense could even get set. That we read all those numbers where they were top 10 in the NBA. Defensive rating, defensive rebounding, opponent's field goal percentage. Yeah. And then you talked about yesterday, we need to find a way to get easy baskets. And that's the exact thing that Ben did. From the first possession of the game, literally the first possession of the game, he gets a simple drive, gets a layup. And then he gets a dunk. And then he gets another layup. He was literally so special in the beginning of the game and in the beginning of the second half.
And then, to go off of that, another easy basket was that transition, no look to Danny Green on the run for the layup at the end of the game when we went up 12 or 14 or whatever. So let's transition. We'll circle back around. You guys can throw your comments out there about who we're talking about, what your thoughts were on their play last night, the game overall, takeaways, etc. Danny Green, he's not one of the biggest names, and I just want to throw him out there really quickly because he did play a role in this game, and he was very efficient. Danny Green gave you 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 of 11 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. That's a Danny Green from 3 you're going to need to beat these big teams. So yeah. I thought Danny Green was solid last night in his role.
Yeah, I thought Danny Green was really good last night. And, I mean, obviously Seth Curry didn't shoot the ball well, so he was huge shooting the ball well. I mean, and also Danny Green is at a mismatch guarding Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder's
way quicker.
More agile in every way, but I mean, he's just a pro. That's what Danny Green is. He just competes and just stepped up when we needed him. Hit shots, hit very timely shots. So, I mean, Danny Green was awesome last night.
Well, that's why, at least in my mind, that's why Tyrese Maxey got a couple minutes and run. Because that's when Schroeder in the second half was getting his way to the rim on Danny Green. So I think he brought Maxey in to try to stay in front of Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, I have a bunch of notes about that when it comes to Doc.
Yeah.
About Doc.
Yeah, we will get to Doc. I see a lot of comments about Matisse Thybulle again, and obviously nothing offensively. He only had 1 point off the free throw, but I thought his defense was very, very good last night, and it gave Ben time off from guarding LeBron James and not, spelling Ben Simmons to not have to guard the King.
And last night wasn't Ben's best defensive game, but when you're running around with, like you said, a perceived 50% of the world perceives him as the greatest basketball player of all time, you most likely aren't going to have your best defensive performance. But what Matisse gave you is exactly what you said. It gives you time where it was kind of like when we used to sit Joel and his backups were Amir Johnson, and it was like you brace yourself and hope that they don't go on a huge run. Well, Matisse gave us that. He gave us – it's like when you shake up a soda and you have to, like, open it really slow so it doesn't burst everywhere. Like, that's kind of what Matisse was last night.
Yeah.
It was that little thing you do with
Here's what I'll say about last night's game before we get into more players, because the next two are coming, and they're obviously Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris. And there's a lot to say about their performance last night, which we will. But we already discussed Ben Simmons. And what this game was, who's going to win you games in the postseason, getting down the stretch of the season when it matters? Your stars, right?
Yeah.
We talk about it with the Flyers all the time. Depth is great. Depth is a great thing to have. It's only depth when the top guys are playing at a top level, and then the depth becomes, a good addition. Last night, the Sixers bench gave them nothing, really, essentially. The Lakers bench didn't really give them anything. I mean, let me see if I have it here. Caruso gave them 10.
Yeah, Kuzma was horrible. Markieff Morris did nothing besides get a double technical foul. And, dude, Montrezl Harrell was, like, a non-factor.
Not at all. Go for 1 second. I got to send this link to someone really quick.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, just to mention the bench, because you mentioned the bench, and I'll get into kind of what I was going to bring up with Doc. It was in the first half, you saw in the first sub-rotation, you saw Dwight and Furkan was who he kind of brought into the game to relieve Joel Embiid, and I'm pretty sure Furkan relieved Danny Green at the time. And then just Doc being who Doc is in the second half, you saw he kind of made a huge switch. Joel played almost entirely the whole third quarter. He got subbed out with like 47 seconds left. And the first rotation minutes was Tyrese Maxey instead of Furkan. Like you said, when Dennis Schroeder was kind of getting into the lane, getting what he wanted. So it just shows you what Doc is able to do compared to, and I hate to keep bringing it up because Doc and Brett aren't on the same pedigree. They never will be. But Brett stuck to his rotation. He stuck to his guns. His rotation was his rotation. So that was just huge in my opinion.
Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I'm just sending this link to Dibes real quick.
Yeah.
So he can jump in and talk about last night's victory.
Did you see them chop up like the final 3 minutes?
No.
Oh my, it's so Justin. So it was Justin and Dibes doing the watch party, and Dibes mutes up when it's a close game, and Justin like calls the game winner. He's going nuts, And then all you see is like 25 seconds later, Dive starts running circles around his room, dude, going nuts. It was, dude, his dog's barking as he it's so good, dude. Everyone needs to go watch it. They made a YouTube video on the paint lines. It was so funny, dude.
Yeah, I just got this update too. A Dakota Mathias will play for Team USA. I did see that. Woj tweeted it. Yeah.
Oh, because it's during the season, isn't it? It's in February.
Yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas is like playing.
Yeah.
That's like his I guess.
Here he is. So what I was saying about the Stars game is those three are the ones that won it last night. What's going on, Dibes?
What's up, guys? What's happening?
How you feeling?
Oh, man, I'm just walking on clouds today, man. I'm just walking on clouds.
Gint was telling me about your reaction to the game winner.
Dude, how bad were those Eagles live streams, man? how like legit painful were just going through every preview, every pregame, every watch party, every postgame. It was just getting through that schleck that was garbage, and then last night made it all worth it, man. That was easily the best live stream watch party I've ever done. Easily, probably, definitely a candidate for best regular season game.
Absolutely.
Just one of those moments where you wish you were in the building and you were just rocking out with your buddies and screaming and leaving the Wells Fargo Center, grabbing a beer after the game. Just what a game.
I would have been stumbling out of the Wells Fargo Center after that thing. But, Dives, we were talking about the stars of the game last night and saying how, what impressed me the most is it didn't take a Herculean effort from Seth Curry from three, or it didn't take Shake Milton giving you 28 off the bench or anything like that. Your bench was mediocre. Seth Curry couldn't hit a shot. Your stars, your big three essentially carried you to a win against the Los Angeles Lakers, the defending champs. And that's what it's going to take later in the season. And I think that was one of the biggest takeaways last night. Like, it didn't take anything. You didn't shoot out of this world from three. You weren't overly efficient. You didn't turn them over a ton. You didn't win the foul calls by a million, so on and so forth. You just outplayed the Los Angeles Lakers for 46 of the 48 minutes in reality. And that was beautiful.
Yeah, man, you're seeing Doc Rivers build this offense around Joel and Tobias. And you look at these two in January, and they are flourishing. They are flourishing. Any game where your big three carry you to a W. I know the bench was struggling. I know Seth Curry struggled. But that's what you want to see, and that's something we haven't seen in quite some last couple years, right? You've been waiting and waiting to see Ben, Joel, and Tobias to carry you. Stop turning over the ball with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Execute. We haven't seen it in 2 years, and we're seeing it tonight. And it's one of those games that really Doc Rivers, I think, shined. Doc Rivers truly shined. Tobias Harris, led by Doc Rivers, is unlocked. And this guy just cemented himself as an all-star this season.
Yeah, honest. Abe Link here has a comment about Tobias's and Doc's adjustment defensively, putting Tobias on Marc Gasol later in the game, taking Joel off of him. And that's very true. And I think Tobias was very solid defensively last night. I think Dives is frozen down there again. But anyway, another play that stuck out to me. Do you remember when AD got the ball in the paint and Tobias, stayed in front of him, didn't back down, stayed straight up, vertical, and didn't give in, and AD just had to throw some fadeaway over him, and it clanked off the front of the rim? Like, he not locked up, but he played solid defense on Anthony Davis when needed. He guarded 7'1" Marc Gasol or whatever he is when needed. Tobias Harris was huge. So I guess let's get into him now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thoughts on Toby, max player, Harris, Gint?
Yeah, I mean, just there's so many thoughts. We talked about before yesterday, well, what are we going to do with Tobias? Because Anthony Davis is the top 7 basketball player in the world. Marc Gasol is a huge human being. And, I mean, he just stepped up to every challenge. He guarded both. He guarded Marc Gasol for time. He guarded Anthony Davis for time. He poured in 24 points, gave you a game winner. He went 10 of 16 from the field. He did everything that is worth the money that we gave him. And I remember the first day we did the show, Dives called in and said, okay, tie game, fourth quarter. Who can we give the ball to? And me and you both said the answer we'd love to say is Tobias Harris because it's the money he's getting. And he was the one that said, give me the ball. I'll take care of it. And boy, I literally got chills when I saw him pour that bucket in. And then after, when the whole team's punching him in the chest, I was like, all right, like, this is for real. Because like
this
you said,
team's chemistry is unreal right now too, I believe. I think.
It reminds me so much of like when Golden State went on their run, the amount of fun they were having. And even last year with the Lakers, dude. Last year the Lakers had Dwight, JaVale, like Jared Dudley, guys that just literally just enjoy having fun. It just looks like that.
Don't mention Jared Dudley on the show ever again.
I mean, but dude, I mean, Tobias Harris played 37 minutes and was in a mismatch defensively all night. And he just took the challenge by the horns and was unbelievable. Like, Tobias Harris, that was the best Tobias Harris game. I don't know if we'll see a better one.
No.
I mean, hopefully we do because we're going to need him. And you mentioned it. Like, it didn't take 55% from three. It didn't take Seth breaking a record or Danny Green breaking a record to win this game. It took three guys, your three best players that you paid the most money, to win you a game against the defending champs, best road record in the NBA, best record in the NBA at the time, I'm pretty sure.
And probably the best duo in the league.
And, two top 7 basketball players on the planet. Again, the whole roster was clicking on all cylinders. You saw it because they go on runs and they hit big shots. Katavius Caldwell-Pope is a shot you don't even think would go in.
Yep.
But, dude, just persevere. Tobias Harris was – I don't want to say flawless because it's hard to say flawless, but, dude, he was amazing in every way. Like,
see the smile on my face right now?
Worth every penny, dude.
Do you see the smile on my face?
Penny.
Put some respect on that man's name. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm with everyone. I had my runs of being down on Tobias Harris and trashing Tobias Harris at times because, you need to see more. Like, we all saw the short stints he would be on fire from three from and drop 26, 20, 25 in a couple game period. And then he would go ice cold, right? And I'm not saying he's not going to go cold for a few games this season. Everyone does at times. But, dude, he has literally been unbelievable outside of the Wizards game on opening night.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable, dude. The 16-point, 17-point, 18-point games are quiet games from Tobias Harris. That is great to see. And last night, 24, I forget how many boards.
7 rebounds.
Like you said, 7 rebounds. Had to play against Anthony Davis and Marcus Gasol, and probably I don't remember, but when Montrezl Harrell was in there, he might have had to guard him at times. He's probably switched on LeBron a couple of times, and his defense wasn't flawless. Don't get us wrong, but he had to play against all those mismatches, and stood up. And now here's where it gets down to, right? They blow that lead, and in my head, everything's turning in my head at that time in the last 3 minutes because it's like, dude, they've dominated the first 45 minutes of this game from the jump ball, and I think they should win the game, right? Like, they deserve to win the game. And then the Lakers go on a 13-0 run. And in my head, I'm like, I feel like they deserve to lose the game, but I still want you to be mad. So AD hits that layup off the design play with 8 seconds left, 10 seconds left, whatever it is. In my head, we call that timeout, and I'm like, there's the negative Philadelphian in me. I'm like, there's no way something goes wrong here. An offensive foul call. A no call, someone steps on the out of bounds line, putting up a 3. Something goes wrong here. They give the ball to Tobias Harris, which I loved because Joel's back was tightened up. All eyes were going to be on Joel. I forget if Shake was in the game at that point. I don't really remember.
I don't think he was.
No. Was Danny Green in the game or no?
I think it was the starting 5.
Okay. So they get the inbound to Seth. He gets the screen. Hold on, I gotta exit out of Discord here.
No, you're good. Take your time.
Because
and to the point you just brought up, you said gives the ball to Seth. Doc puts the ball in a guy that's 1 for 6 hands and says, okay, you're gonna play a screen and roll if they switch. Just give
yeah. And the craziest thing is they switch, dude. And they didn't have to switch. I don't know why Los Angeles switched that.
Yeah,
Did not have to switch.
It was the starting 5 on the bench, yeah.
And on the floor. They didn't have to switch. They do. LeBron can't immediately attack Toby when he gets the ball because he's got to respect Seth on the outside. He's got a smaller Alex Caruso on him. Dribbles, gets to his spot, pulls up, shoots over him. Dude, sinks it. Didn't think twice about it, and I lost my freaking mind. I think I woke up the entire apartment complex.
Dude, yeah, and
2.4 left, and he sinks it. And then I'm like, oh shit. And then I see the Lakers have no timeouts. They're trying to inbound the ball. I'm like, oh my God, don't foul. He was out of this freaking world last night. He has been for some time. I'm sorry, Gint. I know there's a lot of great players in the Eastern Conference, and it's tough. There's no way I'm leaving him off the All-Star list right now.
You can't, because like you said, this isn't an anomaly. This isn't, oh, well, Tobias has had the good games here. It's the whole season. Like, remember when Jason Kelce screamed it's the whole team?
Yeah.
It's literally the whole season for Tobias Harris, besides opening night 1.
The whole year.
Yeah. It was the second game of the season when he poured in like 25. Me and you were like, well, dude, if he can give us 16, 17, like, we're going to be pretty good. But
if he can give you 20 to 24, that's what he's at.
If he jumped up to that 20-point mark, I was like, wow, we can be really good. And the biggest thing for Tobias coming into the season was, can he make quicker decisions? Can he stop putting the ball on the ground so much? And can he play defense? Check. How
about fringe 50, 40, 90 club as well?
Dude,
so he's efficient as all hell, too.
I don't know what Doc Rivers has in his back pocket that's Tobias Harris's calling card, but it's a match made in heaven. I don't know what he does. I don't know how he does it, but boy, I'm glad it's on our team.
It has been so fun to watch, dude. And that's the thing. You don't win that game without Tobias Harris. You don't win it without the play of Ben Simmons. You don't win it without the play of Tobias Harris. And lastly, going over to some of the guys, you don't win that game without the MVP of the league right now, in my mind. Joel, Hans, Embiid.
Yeah.
Tight back and all. 28. Good.
Before we move to Joel, I just want to mention one more thing. And what Tobias has given you in terms of, like, we have maybe the best defensive front court in the entire NBA. Between Ben kind of hops around on different types of players, but between Ben, Toby, and Joel Embiid, you're getting unbelievable defensive value. I have to look at the numbers in terms of defensive rating and net rating and stuff like that, but those three are just locking all windows and doors, as Mark Zumoff would say, at the right times.
Absolutely. But let's move on to 21, because even with that sort, so he comes out in the first quarter and puts on a show on national television against the defending champs. What he drop? Getting 13 in the first quarter,
something like that. Yeah.
Very efficient. Finished through contact on a Marc Gasol foul. One of your keys to the game was get their bigs in foul trouble, and just going down the board. Harrell had 2 fouls early. AD had 2 fouls early. They both finished with 4. Gasol had 2 fouls early. He got everyone in foul trouble, or in like the first quarter of that game. It was unreal to watch. Slows down in the second quarter a little bit, and then was it the third quarter he was dominant again? I think it was.
He played literally 11 minutes and like 13 seconds in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Which is, I'll bring that up more when we dive into Doc after this, but just what and we brought it up with Ben in the first, like you said, 2.5 minutes. It was the number Tiago threw out for each first and third quarter. But we knew, like, eventually it's going to be Joel time. This team is running on Joel's back, and pun intended on the back.
Yeah.
But we knew it was going to be Joel time, and he didn't disappoint in any way.
He was unbelievable last night. It was a 28, and he even went cold in the fourth because, his back probably tightened up, dude. I don't know how other people heard it. You could hear it on TV, dude, when he hit that floor.
When ESPN was like, "Oh, let's hear it again," and it happened, they were like, "Okay, maybe we shouldn't hear it again."
No,
dude, and the noise he made, I was like, "Oh my God!"
Did you see Kuzma on the bench? Did you see the replay of it? Dude, Kuzma on the bench jumped out of his seat.
I texted you immediately, and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this happened."
I was in our group chat ruining people for for their GOAT. But anyway, so he was great, 28 points, and he could have been better without the back. So bottom line, 28 from your MVP, 24 in a game winner from Tobias Harris, 17-point triple double from Ben Simmons against the Los Angeles defending champ LA Lakers. That is the reason you won the game. And that is the most beautiful part of it and the biggest takeaway from it, because I'll continue to say it. You didn't shoot an unreal rate from the 3-point land. You weren't overly efficient where it's going to be hard to do that. You didn't get to the line 20 more times than they did. You didn't turn they didn't play sloppy. They weren't injured. Your bench didn't give you 40 points. Your stars outplayed their stars. That is the biggest thing. Now, before we get to Doc, I want to go over one more part of the game again. It's the final 3 minutes, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Good.
Give me 1 second. Just to jump into Embiid real quick. We talked about Marc Gasol being that guy, the stopper.
He ain't stopper.
I said it before the show last night. I don't think he knows what's about to hit him. I really don't.
And you know what it was? It was the combination of size and scheme with Nick Nurse. That's exactly what the issue was with Toronto.
Nick Nurse has given Embiid some fits. Even this year he gave him some fits. But
yeah,
he has turned a switch on that we've never seen. There's like one team in the NBA right now that I think could have a player that could kind of contain him and maybe give him a little bit of fits, and that's Miami, because Bam's really good. But every single team either has a guy that's too slow, Marc Gasol, a guy that's too little, Anthony Davis, who Joel Embiid, my God, owns that man. He can't stop him. There's no answer for Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid.
No.
It's like taking trigonometry as a third grader. It ain't happening. There's no answer that Anthony Davis has in his book to stop Joel Embiid. He owns him every single time he plays him. I'm going to do some research and look up that stat, but his points per game has to be.
Also, Ben's now 5-2 against LeBron.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. But yeah, let's jump in the last couple of minutes.
So here I want to get your thoughts on this, and you guys as well in the comments comment along with us, because it would have been a very interesting day and different day if Tobias doesn't hit that shot.
Yeah.
However, because here's what I want to gauge with you. What did we say? Can you compete? Can you run with the best teams in the league? If they dominated the Lakers for 45 minutes and then shut down the end, the Lakers went on a run. Schroeder hits a three. KCP hits a three. They draw up that play out of bounds, get free AD for the bucket. Sixers lose by a point. Would you be that upset? The loss would burn. Don't get me wrong. The loss would ache that night, because it's like, dude, you had the Lakers beat with 5 minutes left. You were up double digits, but you showed that you can run with them.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll count, but let me wrap it up with this. So, someone asked me this: would it be a better teaching moment for that to have happened, or, and obviously you get the W as well, or how big was it? Because this is my stance. The fact it is so big, in my opinion, that they dominated 95% of the game up until the last 3 minutes. The Lakers go on a 13-0 run in the final 3 minutes. You're down 1 with 10 seconds left, and you find a way to win. The moment didn't get too big. Your best player was hurting, and the ball didn't get in his hands in the final possession. You didn't shy away from the Giants that the Lakers are. And you found a way to pull out a win in which you blew a double-digit lead with 3 minutes left. That is huge to me.
Yeah. And it's your question kind of, I'm just like thinking about it. Would it have been a better lesson to lose the game? And yes and no to an extent, because I mean that this is a lesson of, wow, we could have just lost a game that we played amazing for 45 minutes and could have lost it in 3 minutes. But the lesson of that we've seen all season with this team, we could go back to the Miami game when no one really played, but everything was going wrong. Everything you could think of was going wrong. You still find a way to win that game. Toronto game, everything's going wrong. You still find a way to win that game. You blow an 11-point lead with 3 minutes left. Your team's deflated as deflated could be, and you still find a way to win that game. This team is just running through adversity and punching it in the face.
Dude, they are so much freaking fun to watch right now. And here's the thing, Gint. The exciting games, the emotional games. Am I lagging? No, I'm good now.
No, you're good.
The emotional, exciting games down to the wire. Guess what? They're winning those games. Yeah. That doesn't happen before. Mike Small literally puts this in the comments as I'm about to get to the point. And let's transition to Doc now. I'll throw it to you. Because they don't win those games before. The emotional, exciting, down-to-the-wire finishes against, the Boston Celtics. And I know they didn't have Jason Tatum, but they still played 2 very hard games. The Miami Heat overtime game, even though they were hit with COVID, you had to force overtime when you were down 5 with like 40 seconds left. Then the defending champs come to town and you blow a double-digit lead with 3 minutes left. They've won all of those games. The Toronto game, one of the first games of the season, they won that game. The Wizards game that they should have won, but were getting outplayed, they win that game. That doesn't happen. And last night on national television against the defending champs, who got better, mind you,
way better,
full health, your stars found a way to beat theirs in the final 10 seconds. So thoughts on Doc Rivers game and the difference him and the coaching staff is making, because this is another asset to the coaching staff that Mark brings up here. 3-2-2-2-1 in his last 5 games in the turnover column for Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I think Sam Cassell kind of told Ben, that run into the paint, jump in the air, try to throw a pass 180 around your back isn't really working, so cut it out. And he kind of has eliminated that from his game. But yeah, just to allude to Doc, like you said, adjustments. I mean, the NBA is all about adjustments. And I brought up earlier how Brett kind of stuck to his guns with his players. It was, you're going to play this time, and nothing's going to change, and we're going to find a way to win. And it didn't really work. But last night you saw, like I said, Dwight Howard and Furkan entered the game in the first sub-rotations. But then in the second half, you realized Dwight didn't look very good last night. And you play Embiid basically the whole third quarter. He played every minute but 47 seconds. And then you give Tyrese Maxey some run when their best ball handler, Dennis Schroeder, is kind of getting into the lane at will, as opposed to Furkan. Even though Furkan ended up entering the game, hit a huge shot, but Doc is just making the correct adjustments at the right time. It's like the opposite of Doug Peterson.
Yeah. I want to get to this. Mike Small, my guy, spitballing will return soon because JT is home. But I want to address this comment. Need a closer, either by trade or develop Shea. Can't trust Toby all the time. Mike, this is a hot take. I'm done saying that. I'm done saying you can't trust Toby all the time. I'm not saying you can. I'm not saying it's definitive. Toby's the closer. Games on the line. I trust him with my life with the ball in his hands. I'm not going that far. What I'm saying is we're talking about the coaching staff. Brett Brown loses those games. The adjustment Doc has made, how he's playing under Doc, and the way he played under Doc in LA. We're used to Brett Brown, Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris under Doc Rivers, outside of one game, the opening game this year, has shown me nothing except that he's going to average 20-plus points a game and be effective with the ball in his hands, create his own shot, get to the rim, whatever it is. I'm done going against the dude. I'm done saying I can't trust him. I'm not saying he's your definitive closer going into the future. But I'm not going to say I'm done of, yeah, but that's not Toby. How do we know it's not Toby? We're just accustomed to Toby under Brett. Toby under Doc has been an all-star both times he's played for him. He didn't make the cut in the West that year before he got traded to us, but he was a fringe all-star then.
Yeah.
And then he comes here and he's averaging over 20 right now through the first 19 games with Doc.
Yeah, in the Western Conference where 7 of the best 10 players were in that conference. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be one closer. It doesn't need to be Mariano Rivera. It has to be a closing by committee. You would love to have Joel. I mean, Joel has hit big shots this season. Toby hit big shots. Seth Curry can hit some big shots. So, but I get what he's saying in a sense of
I completely
have that backbone to lean on.
Yeah,
and we might not have that, but
right.
But for now,
but here's the thing. Here's something, and I'm not going to steal it from Mike Missinelli. Said it earlier. I saw a comment pop up, and it just distracted me. Everyone talks about the closer, right? Well, we don't have what we had with Jimmy Butler in 2018, and I get that. But guess what? No one else has, Gint, that we have. Joel Hans Embiid. No, I'm being serious. When the game's on the line, and it's not your, dribble, get to your spot, try to get off a shot. It's not your traditional closer in that way. He's 7 feet tall, dominant, playing the way he's playing. We saw him do it against Miami. So even if he's not pulling up over one or two guys for the mid-range jumper, if you put him in the post, I'm A, trusting him to pass out of a double team or triple team now because he's proven that he can this year. And B, either he scores or there's a great chance he's physical and gets fouled. So to your point, you have options. Would it be nice to have Michael freaking Jordan to come in and close the game? Absolutely. But we got what we got. Toby has been a closer thus far in his career. He won't just turn it. Bro, he's never been put in that position. When has he ever been put in a position to be a closer? And what I'm trying to say to you guys is under Doc Rivers is a different Tobias. It was a cliche coming into the year. Doc gets him to play a certain way. And you're like, does he really? Like, that was a half a season, blah, blah, blah. No, we're almost 20 games into a 72-game season, and he's averaging over 20 a game. What'd he say? Yeah. I put that bench triple double.
That was mine.
Yeah, Gint gave you the bench triple double. I went Nets. I went Nets win and James Harden triple double, and I missed by 2 rebounds.
Yeah, don't trust James Harden. Trust Ben Simmons is what he's saying.
I mean, I guess, dude, but I was 2 rebound shot. I got overtime too, dude. I got overtime, and I'm like 2 rebounds. Like, I can get that in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. He didn't get a single board. Yeah. Not a single board. Let's see. Tobias just hit his prime. Nobody but Tobias knows more. Yeah, him and Doc, dude, I think. And someone had a comment. Was it Justin up here? Yeah. We won, and Seth had 2 points in 31 minutes. If Seth, he says 12. If Seth just hits a few more shots, 3 more, even if he had 8 points, you win kind of comfortably. So, last night was so damn exciting. I agree with Doc. I agree with the Sam Cassell. And you can hear Doc too. And no fans, dude, you can hear him. And we had 7. Nadir, we were getting along for a little bit. Well, so let me ask you this, because I'm just curious. I'm not trying to be rude. You don't trust Tobias Harris after he legitimately just pulled up over the defending champs almost 24 hours ago, less than 24 hours ago. You don't trust him, but you trust a guy that has never, ever, ever done it. Oh, I'm sorry. Shake did it in the bubble last year one time. Remember he hit that 3 in the bubble last year?
First, it was a meaningless game.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris just won us the NBA championship last night.
Well, what I'm saying, this is the part I don't get. Okay, if you don't trust Toby in crunch time, fine. You don't have to. One game shouldn't persuade you to do it. I'm going off the whole year. He did it last night. I'm going to let it sit in, and I'm not going to say that he can't do it going forward. But to say you trust more in Shake, why? How? Shake had 9 points last night, bro. He did not look good. He hasn't looked good since he was, he dropped, 5 games in a row?
Of 20 or more, right?
Yeah, and then the last 4 or so, he has not been great. So, no, I don't trust Shake Milton more than Tobias Harris when Tobias Harris did it last night. All I'm saying is we need to stop being critical of what's not there right now.
Yeah,
it's not.
Speaking of that, you want to know the first text I woke up to today about the game?
What?
Well, I should say I checked my phone to work. Ben had a good game last night, but he really is no Brad Beal.
Dude, what?
I literally couldn't believe it. He said, and he brought out the -11.
What was Bradley Beal's plus minus last night?
-17 in a 20. In a 20.
Then shut the hell up.
Yeah, dude.
Then shut the hell up.
And then it was Embiid is the reason we won, not Ben. I was like, dude, come on, man. We're not doing this, right? I said, how can you say you're a Sixers fan and have anything negative to say?
No, and here's what I don't get, dude. So Joel gave you 28, right? And this is not a jab at Joel whatsoever. I literally am calling him the MVP of the league. I love that man. But he gave you 28 and what? 1 assist?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say he accounted for 30 points, 31 max.
4 assists.
Oh, he gave you 4. Okay. How many assists did Ben have?
10.
Okay. So how many points did Ben attribute to the team
46 points.
compared? Okay, and what did Joel contribute to the team?
He's probably around 36.
Okay. So how did Joel win the game for you over Ben? And don't say that Joel played better defense than Ben because Ben had to follow around the king for 39 freaking minutes. Okay?
Yeah, and that definitely alludes to the plus-minus.
Yes.
Category.
And so Ben, plus minus is a flawed stat, and I see Nadir saying, and I only bring it up with Furkan sometimes because it just shows when he's not hitting shots. That's the only time I bring it up with him.
It's a good stat for small minute guys.
Yes, but when Ben plays 39 minutes and the next closest guy plays 35 or 36, right? And you have that 13-0 run in the final 3 minutes when he was on the floor with all them, that contributes to it. So clearly Ben's plus minus is going to take a hit in the final 3 minutes when he's played 3 more minutes than everyone else. And there was a 13-0 run involved. So, yeah, that's where your minus 11 will definitely come into.
And
I just love, this is what I'm talking about the negative people, dude.
Yeah.
You just beat the Lakers semi-comfortably. Obviously, the ending of the game was far but comfortable, but the entire game you controlled from start to finish outside of a 2-minute spurt. He put up a 17-point triple-double and had to defend LeBron, and you're bitching. Why?
I literally figured out that you can't please everyone. I knew you couldn't, and then that solidified everything.
No, not at all.
It was one of my favorite basketball games I've ever watched. From Villanova to the Sixers to everything. And so I woke up to, wow, I wish we had Bradley Beal.
Listen, Gint, we're going to hang out real soon.
Yeah.
I never want you to bring that person in my presence.
No, yeah.
Whoever it is, I don't want to know who he is. That is the most asinine statement I've ever heard. I hope he's watching. I hope he is.
He watches all the time. I don't know.
Okay, good. I hope he watches at some point.
Yeah.
You just beat the defending champs. From start to finish on a game winner, the dude posted a 17-point triple-double, and your response is, I wish I had the guy that lost in a 20-point game and was a minus 17 last night. Yeah. In the words of Rob Lange, you asshat. I'm sure you're a great guy, but that's a terrible freaking take.
Who do you think his favorite quarterback is in the NFL?
Jalen Hurts?
Yeah.
Is it Mark?
No, it's not Mark.
No. I was going to say Mark will never be on this show ever again if that's the case.
No. Mark loves Ben. Mark loves Ben.
Okay, good. And Abe says, Bradley Beal has 13 games over 40 points in his career, and he only won one of those games. His point per game is not translating to winning basketball, plain and simple. I agree. His team sucks. His coach sucks. But there is a case to be made for that. Justin says, Ben Simmons is trash. We need to trade for Beal. Mark, beat LA. Well, they did that last night, so that's my point. Just be freaking happy. All right, Gint. We talk about that. We talk about that game long enough.
Yeah, dude. Remember we said, "Wow, wait, what are we gonna do after?" I was like, "Yeah, we might be able to figure it out."
All right. Well, there will be no daily dose tomorrow. Gint has an away game. I will be up to Poconos, so no daily dose tomorrow. So we're not going to break down the games, obviously, but we'll just give our overall views of this weekend for the 76ers. They have a 3 straight road games. Thank you. Give them some damn credit, man.
I thought you were talking to me. I was like,
no. That's what I'm saying. Just enjoy
we just won the finals last night.
Just enjoy the ride, though. Just be happy. What was I saying? Okay, so they are in Minnesota tomorrow night to take on the Timberwolves. Sunday, they are in Indiana to take on the Pacers. And then they have another road game. It might be against Charlotte. I'm forgetting. So 3 road games for a team that's 3-5 on the road. Gint, does Hans play tomorrow?
Are we on national TV tomorrow?
The Timberwolves on our national TV again?
Yeah, probably not. I don't think he'll play. But another reason is I don't think Karl Anthony Towns is clear to play yet.
I don't think he is.
I think he's still on COVID protocol. So
yeah. So what I will say about the game is even if Joel's not playing, and I know we said this about the Detroit game, but Minnesota is worse than Detroit.
Yeah, they didn't pick James Wiseman because there wasn't a fit, and man, is he way better than Anthony Edwards.
Back tightness equals load management. Look, man, I normally say that.
Not after last night.
No, not after last night.
That was not.
No,
not tightness.
So even without Joel, Hans, and Embiid tomorrow night, the Sixers still should be able to come away with a win in Minnesota. Sunday in Indiana is a big test. So if Embiid does not play in that game, if Embiid plays in that game, that's a nice test because, now you get a road game against a top 3-4 team in the East.
Yeah, we can't beat Indiana. Well,
No.
we used to not be able to beat Indiana. It's a different team, but
yeah.
D'Angelo Russell's out too.
Really?
That's what Mark.
So I'm going to go win tomorrow, and I'm going to say loss to Indiana only because I can really see Joel Embiid not traveling with the team for the road trip.
Yeah, that's probably true, which sucks.
Like, I don't know why, but if he doesn't play tomorrow, I just think he stays.
Last night?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think he stays home. So this could be 3 straight games without Joel Embiid, unless he's okay. Unless, I don't know.
The next game's not until Wednesday after that, right?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we go Friday, Sunday, Wednesday. So
okay.
We could definitely get with the team eventually.
Yeah.
But Indiana has fans too.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
It's pretty odd, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like they're down set. They're not like
ticket is $41. You want to go?
Yeah, you take the road trip?
Yeah.
No, we would get canceled.
Get kicked out of the game.
Oh man.
Hey, if Embiid doesn't travel, we'll go 1-1. If he
travels, we still might go 1-1. But
yeah, I still think we win against Minnesota, especially if D'Angelo Russell doesn't play.
Yeah.
But the Indiana game is going to be.
I agree with you. I'm going to go 1-1 regardless. Hope I'm wrong, and I hope he does play. I don't need him. I really don't. I know I hate saying this because they look like absolute dog shit when he's not on the floor.
Yeah.
But we should not need Joel Embiid to play against Minnesota. Yeah. I would, if he's okay. If it's hurting or sore or tight, whatever, don't rush him back to Sunday. But if he's okay, I want him to play Sunday because I would really like to see them on the road against Indiana and, have another gauge of where they're at. So that'll be a fun game. Also, the Flyers take on the Devils tonight again. I know you've been slacking on your puck over there.
Yeah.
But
he did get a flagrant.
Yeah, he got a flagrant. He just didn't get a flagrant too. Somehow it was equal to what Joel Embiid did to Anthony Davis, but it's beyond me. So they take on the Devils tonight in their second game, and then they have the Islanders this weekend back at home, a rematch of that second round Game 7 loss to New York in the bubble. Again, last time you said it, your boy put one in the back.
Yeah, he scored.
You know what sucked about that game? I tweeted it out too, messing around with people. So I quoted our last show when we predicted, and I said JVR scores. You said Drew scores. It was the first Boston game.
Yeah.
Drew scored. JVR scored 2, and I was like, I quoted. I was like, Drew scored. JVR scored. We know puck.
Yeah.
And then they lose in a shootout.
Yeah.
So the Flyers sit at 4-2-1. I think they're third in the East with 7 points. So Marky, I do like the Flyers tonight. I believe Carter Hart is back in net. He had a rough outing the second game in Boston, allowing 6 goals, and then absolutely destroyed. Did you see that again?
Yeah, his stick
on the goal on the net after the game. So they gave him the night off against New Jersey on Tuesday night. Brian Elliott, stepped in, played well. They win 5-3. I think Carter Hart, he should be back tonight, and I think the kid doesn't get easily rattled.
So, Marky, you want your lock for tonight, bud?
Yeah, God, I'm going. I like the Flyers tonight, though.
Steph Curry over in points. Damian Lillard over in points.
What are the points set at?
I don't know, but they're going over. Steph plays the Suns, and Damian Lillard plays the Rockets. Over. Parlay them together. Get your money.
Outright,
yeah.
All right, so again, Flyers win tonight and improve to 5-2-1, or are you still sticking with their trash?
Dude, it's not my fault. Every time I watch, they lose.
They lose bad when you watch, bro.
Yeah, dude, they let up a touchdown.
The Buffalo game, the first Buffalo game and the second Boston game are the 2 games you've seen this season, and they've given up a touchdown in each.
I text you and Dave each time, like, what is this? What am I watching here?
At the end of the day, bro, they win tonight. They're 5-2-1 to start the young season, and every point counts.
I'll say they win.
I think they win as well. New Jersey just isn't that good. JVR, James Van Riemsdyk, is rolling right now. So I'm going to go Flyers win 4-2 tonight, Gint.
I'll go 5-3 or 5-1, 5-2.
What you just bounced all over the goddamn place.
Just your final answer, lock it in.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this week's show. Today's show this week for the Daily Dose. We will be back Monday, I believe. Gint, you got to let me know your game schedule for basketball, so I know what days.
Week,
So, guys, bear with me because I will be starting to not take days off when Gint has to run for practice or games. So I'll be doing by myself most likely. So bear with me. Comment along a lot those days.
Join the stream. Give them some help.
Yeah. Be active with me, and we'll just have some fun with it. So with that being said, the Sixers beat the Los Angeles Lakers last night. They sit at 13-6, first place in the Eastern Conference, and they have a 3-game road stand starting tomorrow night in Minnesota. For myself, for Gint, go Sixers, go Flyers. Have a nice night.